Hello everyone. So we are back today on 7th of March 2019 Thursday with the daily cybersecurity news. So the first news is about Google. New Google Chrome zero-day vulnerability found actively exploited in the wild. So that's a problem found with Google Chrome current version, and it was found by the researcher from Google's threat analysis group named Clement Lessigny, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He reported a high severity vulnerability in Google Chrome last month that could allow remote attackers to execute arbitrary code and take full control of the computers. The vulnerability is assigned with the number CVE 2019-5786, and it affects the web browsing software, which is Google Chrome, for all the major operating systems, including Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. So Google has not revealed much details about this vulnerability, but they have said that it's a use after free vulnerability in the file reader component of Chrome browser, which leads to remote code execution attacks. So what is use after free? So use after free vulnerabilities are a type of memory corruption flaw that can be leveraged by hackers to execute arbitrary code. Especially it refers to an attempt to access memory after it has been freed. So that's why it's called use after free, which can cause a program to crash, or in the case of a use after free flaw, can potentially result in the execution of arbitrary code, as Google mentioned for the Chrome. What is more worrisome is that Google already warned that this zero-day RCE, remote code execution vulnerability, is actively being exploited in the wild by attackers to target Chrome users. So this file reader component is a standard API that has been designed to allow applications to asynchronously read the contents of files stored on user's computer using the file or blob objects to specify the file or data to read. That's about the use after free vulnerability in the file reader component. Google is asking everyone to update it to the latest update, which is Chrome 72.0.3626.121. Moving forward to the second news, which is for Firefox. Firefox to add Tor Browser anti-fingerprinting technique called letterboxing. So this is what Firefox is doing. They're trying to add more and more anti-fingerprinting techniques in last few years, and that's what they have done this time also, and it's called letterboxing. So let's go through this. So in the new version of Mozilla Firefox version 67, which is scheduled for mid-May this year, Firefox will be adding this letterboxing anti-fingerprinting technique. So what is this used for? So when we have advertisers on the website, the advertisers often sniff certain browser features such as the window size to create user profiles and track users as they resize their browser and move across new URLs and browser tabs. So this letterboxing, which is a new technique, adds gray spaces to the size of web page when the user resizes the browser window. So the general idea of letterboxing will mask the window's real dimensions by keeping the window width and height at multiplex of 200px and 100px during the window resize operation. So which generates the same window dimensions for all users, and then adding a gray space at the top, bottom, left or right of the current page. So if the advertising code, which listens to window resize events, then reads the generic dimensions and sends the data to the server. In other words, letterboxing tricks the advertising code into seeing the newly resized browser window at incorrect dimensions. Okay, in this video, in the description you can also find the link for another video of Tor to show how Tor is doing it already. Okay, and then it will be available in Firefox 67 version in the May. Okay, so that's all for this news. Moving on to the third news, hacker group behind Singhealth data breach identified targeted and targeted mainly Singapore firms. Okay, so if you remember, there was a big Singhealth issue or a data leak in Singapore. So the hackers that compromised the data of that 1.5 million Singhealth patients has been identified as a group that launched attacks against several businesses based in Singapore, including multinational companies and few other. So it's currently dubbed as Whitefly, the group that hacked the organizations in healthcare, media, telecommunications, and engineering. And it's likely part of a large operation targeting other nations, according to a report from Symantec. So it was asked why they only focused on Singapore, and in reply, Dick O'Brien, a researcher from Symantec Security Response Division, told that its sponsor likely had other teams targeting other countries and regions, and it was possible that Whitefly was part of a broader intelligence gathering operation in the region. So the report from Symantec was released on late Wednesday, which revealed that Whitefly comprised its targets using custom malware and open source hacking tools, as well as LAN tactics such as malicious PowerShell scripts. Specifically, this group attempts to infect its targets using a dropper in the form of malicious.exe or .dll file, which is disguised as a document or image, and likely sent through a spear phishing email. Once this file is opened, the dropper runs a loader known as trojan.vcrodat on the computer. Going to the fourth news, which is for England. So Bank of England to test banks' resilience to cyber attacks. So Britain's banks will have to show they could recover from a cyber attack within hours to avoid a customer payments being delayed to the next day. This is coming from Bank of England. So BOE, Bank of England, said it would hold a pilot cyber stress test for the banks in mid-2019, but individual results they won't publish. So the pilot test will look at the payment systems of banks going down, but future tests would also include data being corrupted as per the BOE's Financial Policy Committee. So specifically, the banks have to show that the payments made on the day of the theoretical cyber attack are actually completed on the same day and not delayed to the next day. Going to the last news of the day, security bug in Joomla hands cybercriminals a playground for attack campaigns. So Joomla, which is a free and open source content management system for published web content, got under attack, and that's another one with the open source software. So as I was saying, Joomla is a CMS software, and it has been hit with the new spam campaigns recently. As per the report by Checkpoint Research, a threat actor who is famous with the name ALARG53, so ALARG53, has intruded many Joomla powered websites by exploiting a security flaw. So specifically, it's in the CMS mail service, which is called Gmail, and by using Gmail, new phishing and spamming infrastructure could easily be set up. Again, according to Checkpoint, the attacker firstly exploits the old Joomla object injection remote code execution vulnerability, which came up in 2015 with the number CVE 2015-8562. And more about this attacker, ALARG53. In history, they have hacked more than 15,000 websites in last few years, and his or her trademark signature is to replace affected websites with a sign saying hacked by ALARG53. Currently, there are no remedies for this problem, and it's an open source, so we may have to wait for a bit more. But the website owners are advised to keep Joomla updated with the latest version of 3.9.3. Okay, so that completes our daily cybersecurity news for today. Thanks everyone for watching.